What's up guys, welcome to round number 13 of the Stop Drop Gaming GP2 Championship from a wet Monza. So, as usual, we're in the Lotus, and as you can see we've got the full wets out. It's time for qualifying. It's going to be difficult to balance it between the dry and wet setup. Here it is, it's qualifying. So we come around the famous Parabolica corner on the full wet tyres. Coming towards the end of qualifying, filled myself up with quite a bit of fuel, and now as we go across the line, not quite an optimal setup. As you can see, we're in 8th place at the moment because it was predicted to be a dry race. As we brake just about at the 150 metre board, the car just doesn't want to turn in, and then you've got to really shift up to second gear pretty quickly, or else you're going to get a lot of wheel spin off that corner. But now as we come through the Curva Grande, used up half our curves already, and now we're coming under the bridge for the second chicane, one of the most difficult corners to master. As you can see, we're up on our previous time, but how we didn't get a corner cut for that, I'm not quite sure. Some of them are really lenient, some of them are really harsh, but as we come through the two Lesmo corners now, they're really difficult to get right in the full wet. Not so bad on the intermediates, but in the full wets, obviously we've got no DRS either. And now as we come into the Ascari chicane, possibly the most difficult corner to master in the full wet. You can't ride it over the curb too much as we're sliding absolutely everywhere. As you can see, Paradise sets the fastest lap of the qualifying session. We're stuck down in 8th place. There are cars retiring everywhere. And as you can see, we've only got 2 laps of fuel left, and as we come around the Parabolica, it leads us onto the pit straight, and we actually went on to continue for another lap, but it wasn't good enough for anything more, and it actually didn't improve at all, and we were actually in P8 anyway. So yeah, it was a bit of a frustrating session. Some people went for more of a wet setup than others. I was pretty much in a dry setup apart from the front wing, I believe. I ran a little bit softer springs, I believe, as well. But nobody could touch this guy, Paradise. Another pole position for him, and he was looking good for the race. Hope you enjoy it. Here it is. Sitting on the grid then, in a dry Monza, it's race time, and we're on the option tyres for the start of the race, sitting on the grid, side by side with Mackenzie on the 4th row of this grid. And it's a long time before the lights come on, but we've got 4, we've got 5, and we are now away for the Italian Grand Prix, the oldest Grand Prix in Formula 1 history. And we charge down to the first corner, one of the tightest on the 2013 calendar, but everybody slows down brilliantly and almost comes to an absolute standstill as we somehow make it through the first corner. Nobody touches, we're up to P7 ahead of Mackenzie, and now on the tail of Doughboy in his Ferrari. He runs a little bit wide, but we just don't seem to quite have enough pace to be able to take him on the run down to the second chicane, where the priority is just really making the corner, which we can't quite do. We just about shut the door on Mackenzie. As we've got Vortex coming down the inside, we managed to hold our line, and there's no crashes that actually happen. Before coming through the second Lesmo, it chucks us off, and now we've corrected onto the circuit, and our front wing has been taken slightly off, as we've got cars charging past left, right and centre. And even though we've only actually got a small chunk of the front wing taken off, this circuit, it's so important to have a full front wing for proper aero. Just going down the straights, and you know, you don't want to be losing anything into those chicanes, as we've got a laggy Hexen who just overtakes us. We're in 11th place, and we just can't brake for the Parabolica, and it's just chucked us into the gravel. One of the only few tracks actually that's still got gravel left, and we decided to make it into the pits after falling down to P14 and last position. It's going to be a difficult race from here, probably going to be a 3-stop race, but as we fit a set of prime tyres, we don't actually have to run. We can run whatever we want now. We don't have to run any certain tyre. There's a 0% chance of rain for the race, so it's going to be dry compounds all the way as we rejoin the race, obviously in last place. But Vortex pitted soon after, and now we're actually up to 12th position. I can't quite see who that is actually pitted, but we're up to P12 anyway, and Matt has gone off at the first corner. I believe it was an incident with his fellow Sauber teammate, but that puts us up to P11 anyway. We'll take that, and now up to P10 with Mackenzie coming into the pits, I believe. And it's looking alright for us so far as the laps tick by. Lap 9, and we're ahead of Shaney this time. So it's looking pretty good at the moment. It's just how long we can take these prime tyres. And we skip now to lap 10. We're still in 9th position. We've got Shaney on our tails, and he looks as if he's going to take a look down the inside maybe. Oh no, that was not the corner to go looking for an overtake, surely. We had a DRS zone just 2 corners away, but he took the charge, and we've been taken out into the gravel after losing quite a lot of grip. But he actually gives us a position back, which is good sporting behaviour from Shaney. So that's good to see, and we actually ended up resuming the battle later on. As you can see, the tyres not looking too bad at the end of lap 10, as Shaney's right back on our tail. And this looks as if it's going to be a good battle throughout the race as we skip up to P8 actually now. So it's looking good at the moment. Maybe be able to make the 2-stopper work, an effective 1-stopper really. I believe that I would have been able to make that work. But end of lap 12, I've had enough of this set of prime tyres. As you can see, that left front has gone completely red. All the other tyres seem fine, even the rears. I mean, that's where you usually get the problems on this track. But it's going to have to be 15 laps on this set of prime tyres. We've got a bit of flexible strategy, definitely. If we can, we'll be able to go prime option. But we come out in P10 anyway, ahead of Vortex, just behind the teammate tyre abuser, and it doesn't look at the moment as if it's going to be a good day for the Lotus boys. As it stands, we'd only actually get 3 points, but I'm sure that will definitely change as the race develops. So we skip now to the end of lap 14, and we've actually lost connection to Vortex after he got disqualified from the session. And we're actually up to P9 now. It's Shaney again, as we look as if we may resume our battle, going into this first chicane, just feeding it in, and we're getting really, really good grip from these prime tyres, which actually look as if they're the race tyres to be on. But we're P9, as we say, and we've got Speed Demon just ahead of us, but I believe that he's actually crashed out of the session, as we get a little warning for corner cutting. Only actually got 2 warnings, I believe, for the actual whole session, which at Monza was really good. I've managed to find a decent setup. And as you can see, we're up to P8 after Speed Demon has crashed at the Parabolica. So, yeah, P8. And it's actually recommended for us to go into the pits, but no chance of that happening. We're in it for the long haul. Tyre abuser into the pit lane for his final stop as he fits the option tyres, and now it's definitely just going to be a race to see who can do what. Sorry, that was Shaney actually in the pits. We've got tyre abuser now in the pit, just on lap 21, in for his set of option tyres. So that should be sufficient for him to finish the race, as we've got Paradise leading at the moment, and as you can see, he took out the race win. But the miracle of the day was definitely doing 15 laps on this set of prime tyres. Near to the end of the race, we've got tyre abuser, my teammate, on my tail all the way, but he just could not close that gap. But yeah, I mean, 6th place was pretty decent for me. I mean, after the start that I had, it was probably about the best that I could do. I was really, really happy with it at the end, as you could see. And here are the results, with Paradise taking the win from Starkey. Mitchell made up the 3rd spot on the podium, with Doughboy and Hexham making up the top 5 positions. I got 6th with Tyre Abuser in 7th. And it was decent points in the end for Lotus when it looked at one point as if it was just going to be 3 points. But there you can see that Paradise was the winner. Join me next week for Singapore highlights, but until next time guys, it's goodbye from me.